train wreck. The essence of a well-ordered system reduced to chaos. The very phrase train wreck has come to mean any out-of-control disaster. And although rail travel is among the very safest ways to get around, when a passenger train traveling at high speed does crash, whether through derailment or collision, scores, even hundreds of passengers can die. In 1964, the world was introduced to high-speed rail with Japan's Shinkansen, or bullet train. The trains ran at a top speed of 133 miles per hour. Today, the bullet trains and France's TGV line carry passengers at speeds of up to 186 miles per hour. High-speed trains had proven to be a remarkably efficient means of transportation. And until 1998, they'd been remarkably safe. On June 3rd of that year, the violent crash of a German ICE high-speed train near the small town of Eschede highlighted the need for extremely precise engineering for these extremely fast trains.
The entire railroad community was shocked when the Eschede accident took place. It represented not only the first fatal accident on the ICE system, but essentially it was the first significant high-speed rail accident anywhere in the world.
The ICE, or Intercity Express trains, began service in Germany in 1991, and they were an instant hit. Germany had enjoyed a long love affair with speed thanks to the Autobahn. The ICE trains, which reach operating speeds of up to 175 miles per hour, increased German train ridership by 30%. The trains offered a smooth, comfortable ride, thanks in part to a new wheel design.
They have a piece of rubber in between the outer rim and the inner part of the wheel. And the purpose of that rubber is to lower the noise and the vibrations that the wheels cause.
We call it a resilient wheel. This is a very common practice used on light rail vehicles, streetcars, but this was the first application of such a wheel on a high-speed rail train.
The decision to use the resilient wheel design on the ICE train proved fateful. On the morning of June 3, 1998, ICE train 884 was traveling between Munich and Hamburg. The two power cars, one front and one rear, and 12 passenger cars were speeding along at 112 miles per hour. About 5 minutes away from the Eschede station, passengers felt a sharp jolt, followed by jarring vibrations, which lasted about 2 minutes. On the first passenger car, the steel tire had peeled off from the core of the resilient wheel.
The tire actually fractured, came apart under the car, and hung up on part of the track brake. The wheel was carried along in this position down the track.
As the train approached a series of turnout switches on its way to the Eschede station, the broken tire struck the guide rail of the first turnout, causing the first two cars to lean sideways.
After that had happened, things began to go wrong very quickly.
With the concrete overpass coming up fast, the careening wheels of car number 1 damaged the switch points, meaning that any one of the following cars might be diverted to the turnout track. Passenger car number 3 was the first to switch to the turnout track, and the first to fly off the tracks completely. It smashed into the columns of the overpass.
If you think about the amount of energy that was associated with that collision, that train weighs more than two 747s, and then going at that speed.
The force of the collision brought the overpass down, crushing several train cars and causing the rest to pile up in accordion fashion. The degree of disintegration resembled a plane crash. 101 passengers were killed. Another 105 were injured, many of them critically. The damaged guide rail and switch points led investigators quickly to the broken wheel. Further analysis found that the inner layer of rubber had increased metal fatigue to the point where the inside of the steel rim cracked and separated.
Imagine if you had your bicycle and you put a steel band on the outside of the bicycle wheel. Every time that it rolled on the ground, that piece of metal will bend, and that bending causes stresses on the inside of the band.
But the flawed wheel design wasn't the only factor in this tragedy.
Usually to have an accident, and particularly to have a severe accident, it takes a combination of 2 or 3 events. I mean, in the case with the ICE, you needed the wheel to fail, you needed to go over a switch, and you needed to have a bridge all in the wrong place to create such a severe accident.
Nevertheless, 3 engineers involved in the wheel design faced 101 counts of negligent homicide in a German court. They were acquitted.
It's really a technical issue. What caused the flaw in the wheel probably initiated as a very tiny flaw inside of the metal part. It is extremely hard to detect those kinds of flaws.
After the Eschede disaster, ICE engineers reverted to the original all-steel monoblock wheel and installed a more advanced suspension system to reduce vibrations. Newer train cars were also built to absorb more energy, thus providing passengers with a better chance of survival in a crash.
One thing that really surprised me was the German engineer said that the Eschede accident would not be another Hindenburg. He said the Hindenburg accident basically finished the airship industry for Germany and the world, and that the German engineers were committed that this Eschede accident was not going to be a Hindenburg and prevent high-speed rail from being successful in Germany.
And indeed, the Eschede disaster did not dampen the German people's fondness for the ICE and high-speed rail.